What really separates a struggling farm from a massive, highly profitable pork empire? Honestly, it comes down to two things: genetics and math. Welcome to This Explainer. If you're looking to turn an ordinary farm into a high performance business, well, you're in the exact right place. Today, we're going to demystify the science of commercial pig breeding. We aren't just talking about your basic animal husbandry here. No, we're breaking down a specific, actionable blueprint for selecting top tier genetics, managing reproduction, and ultimately building a farm that absolutely maximizes your return on investment. Okay, so let's dive right in by looking at the single most important number for your bottom line: 3 kilograms. Why does this matter so much? Because highly efficient commercial breeds only need about 3 kilograms of good feed to produce 1 kilogram of pork. Just think about that for a second. In the farming business, feed is your biggest expense, hands down. By establishing this feed-to-weight ratio as your baseline, you're instantly setting up the economic foundation for a successful, sustainable farm. Local breeds, they just simply can't match that kind of feed conversion efficiency.
So, here's our game plan for today. First, the secret to profitable pigs. Second, the top commercial breeds. Then, mastering pig breeding methods. Fourth, selecting the perfect gilt. Fifth, picking and testing boars. And finally, care for reproductive success. Let's get to it.
Starting off with Section 1, the secret to profitable pigs and the top commercial breeds. Let's start building our farm's sports team, right? Because to win, you need to draft the best players. And that means looking at the absolute best genetic talent pools available in the commercial farming space right now. Take a look at the distinct differences among the big four breeds. You've got the Yorkshire. These are massive animals, reaching up to 450 kilograms, literally the weight of a grand piano, and they're known for a really high litter size of 12. Then there's the Landrace, famous for having the absolute highest number of pigs per litter and, you guessed it, fantastic bacon production. On the other hand, the Hampshire brings excellent muscle and lard production to the table. And finally, the Duroc, those red, super muscular pigs. Now, the Duroc doesn't have the largest litters, but they grow the fastest out of all the breeds. As a farmer, you gotta look at these options and decide what your farm really needs. Are you trying to maximize the sheer number of piglets, or are you prioritizing how fast they reach market weight?
Moving on to Section 2, mastering pig breeding methods. Now that we know who the star players are, we've got to strategize on how to actually combine them. We're moving way beyond just keeping pure breeds and looking at how to unlock the true genetic potential of your entire herd.
So the crucial concept to grasp here is hybrid vigor, also known as heterosis. This is the ultimate goal of crossbreeding. It's basically when the offspring actually outperforms both of its parents. Imagine taking the explosive growth rate of an exotic Duroc boar and combining it with a local mother pig who has incredible tolerance to hot weather and environmental stress. You aren't just mixing breeds here. You are literally engineering a stronger, faster growing, and far more resilient animal. It's a real game changer. But let's look at the flip side, which brilliantly illustrates what happens when you ignore smart breeding practices. This is the tragic effect of inbreeding. Check out this progression. You start with a great litter of 12 piglets. Awesome, right? But if a farmer makes the amateur mistake of mating siblings together, the next generation drops to 9. Mate those siblings again, and suddenly your litter size has plummeted by 50%, down to just 6. And worse, many of them will be weak or born dead. Inbreeding concentrates undesirable recessive genes, causing hernias, high mortality, and low libido. It will absolutely destroy your bottom line. Just don't do it.
Now, contrast that total disaster with this winning strategy, crossbreeding. You mate a local sow with an exotic boar. The result? Healthier, bigger piglets. You sell the males for cash, you keep the strongest crossbred females, and then you mate them with a completely unrelated exotic boar. Suddenly, you've engineered a super team of very healthy, strong, active, and highly profitable piglets. Let me tell you, changing your boar every year with an unrelated herd is the absolute best practice to guarantee this kind of boom.
All right, Section 3, selecting the perfect gilt and picking boars. We understand the strategy now, so let's move into the crucial scouting and drafting phase. We're going to look at the strict, non-negotiable physical criteria you absolutely must use when picking the individual male and female players for your breeding program. When selecting a breeding gilt, a young female that hasn't given birth yet, you have to be ruthless with your standards. Look at that first point, at least 12 teats. If we want large litters of 12 piglets like the Yorkshire provides, the mother physically needs 12 functional teats to feed them all. That is totally non-negotiable. She also needs to come from a mother who successfully weaned 9 to 10 piglets, proving she's got those strong maternal genetics. You want strong legs Definitely no inverted teats, and crucially, she must be at least 8 months old before her first service. Seriously, do not rush the process. And what about the males? Well, never forget that the breeding boar contributes to exactly half the genetic quality of your entire herd. Half! You're looking for a boar with really sound feet to support his weight during mounting and full, muscular hams. Now notice this second point, and I know it might sound a little strange, but he must have at least 12 nicely placed rudimentary teats. Why? Because he passes this exact trait directly down to his daughters. You want to select the biggest male from a litter right at 4 weeks old, before castration. And just like the gilt, he needs to be at least 8 months old before he gets to work. Section 4. Care for reproductive success. Okay, so we've drafted our perfect team, but how do we manage them to ensure we actually get that maximum return on investment? Let's talk about their care. At around 7.5 months of age, you absolutely must evaluate your boar's mating behavior. You do this by bringing a gilt in standing heat right into his pen. You want to see those healthy signs: high aggressiveness, correct mounting ability, normal extension. But you really need to watch out for the red flags, which mean immediate elimination from your breeding program. If he's dealing with arthritis or lameness that prevents mounting, or if he has a limp, tied, or infantile penis, you just cannot use him. These traits are often heritable. If you breed a defective boar, well, you're going to get a defective herd. Simple as that. Another absolutely crucial check for your boars is semen quality. A healthy boar should output an average volume of 200 to 250 milliliters of semen. That's roughly 1 full cup. It should look milky, which indicates a high sperm concentration, and 70 to 80% of the sperm should be highly motile right after collection. If the semen looks watery or bloody, or if there's low motility that persists for weeks, that boar needs to be culled right away. Now, before you go risking your entire farm's production cycle on an unproven boar, do a test mating as an insurance policy. Breed them with 2 or 3 gilts and simply watch them. If they don't return to estrus or heat within 4 weeks, congratulations, your boar is fertile and doing his job. But keep in mind, if your farm has high environmental temperatures, or if the boar recently experienced the stress of transportation, his fertility could be temporarily reduced for up to 8 weeks. So be patient, but definitely verify. Finally, managing your gilts correctly will dictate the size and health of your litters. Do not breed a gilt on her very first heat. Delaying breeding until her second or third estrus takes advantage of a natural increase in ovulation rate, which statistically increases your litter size. During gestation, you want to feed her so she gains about 150 kilograms, but you must strictly prevent her from becoming overly fat, because overweight sows face serious complications during birth. So what does this all mean for us? What's the main takeaway here? Pig farming isn't just about putting animals in a pen and hoping for the best. It's a calculated, scientific business. We've seen how a 3-kilogram feed conversion can set your financial baseline, how heterosis literally engineers better animals, and why strict 12T criteria and careful reproductive management are totally non-negotiable. So look at the herd you have right now. Are you settling for inbred, underperforming genetics, or are you ready to take this blueprint and build a legacy of high-performance, highly profitable farming? The choice and the profit is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.